Hello everyone, welcome to our digital or distance learning English classes. And this is the first time I'm doing this, so it will be maybe a little awkward, but please bear with me. I wish I could see your faces. Also, this is baby Silas. He's a little drowsy right now, but say hi, Silas. So I miss you all, and we're gonna try this format for as long as we need, but I really hope to be back in the classroom interacting with all of you soon. So as you know, every Monday we usually start with talking about our weekend, but we haven't seen each other for a long time, and it's been a long time since we've had any English classes. So let's talk about what we've been doing during this social distancing, during this quarantine time. So we can ask just how have you been, or how was, well, not how was, because we're still in this quarantine. So we could say, how have you been doing, or how have you been spending your time, or how have you been spending your quarantine? So you can ask that question to your family members, or you can just practice saying it verbally out loud to yourself, or you can write it down if you want. For me, I have been spending basically all my time taking care of this baby. Newborn really is very time consuming, but of course we love him very much. My husband has also been working from home. As you know, he was off for 6 weeks when Silas was born, but he started working again this week. So we are all at home and let's see, when I'm not taking care of Silas, or when he's taking a nap, I have been doing a lot of baking. I think being stuck at home makes me want to do something with my hands. So I've been baking a lot of dessert, cookies, brownies, and I've been putting on a lot of weight. But let's see, what else have I been doing? I've been checking up on my family and friends through social media and chatting, and of course calling as well. For church, we have been meeting online, so we're grateful, we're thankful for technology, but it's not the same as meeting in person. So that's how I've been spending my last 6 weeks. So take some time to tell somebody in your family what you've been doing, even though they probably already know what you've been doing since you've been staying with them at home. But just to practice English. I'm sure many of you are helping your students with their digital learning homework and their assignments. So you can ask your children, hey, can you help mom? Can you help dad with my English classes, with my English assignments? So you can, give and take. So we are on Unit 5. This is a page 58. Page 58, Unit 5, Around Town. So let's look at the pictures. There are 5 pictures, and as you know, every time we begin a unit, we describe the pictures. So let's go ahead and look at the first picture, and take some time to, or not just the first picture, you can look at all of the pictures and form some sentences describing these pictures. Oops. I'm gonna check in on Silas every now and then. Okay, so we might say, for example, in the first picture, Steve Jones and Almaz are talking. We might say that, or we might say just two people are talking. You can also describe the environment. You can say two people are sitting at a desk. And you can also try to make some assumptions or guesses. You could say they are, or maybe you could say this is an interview. It looks like it's an interview. Or you can say Almaz is being interviewed by Steve Jones. If you remember, back in Unit, I believe, Unit 3, or maybe Unit 2. Let me check. Yes, Unit 2, we talked about the passive tense in Lesson B. So if you look on page 20, you can look at the chart. So under present passive, there are some examples like placement test is given by the college. The active voice is the college gives a placement test. But in passive, we say the object first. A placement test is given by the college. Just like this sentence structure, we can also say Almaz is being interviewed by Steve Jones. Or active voice, Steve Jones is interviewing Almaz. So let's look at the second picture. In the second picture, you can see a volunteer application. So you could say this is a volunteer application. Or you can connect it with the first picture and you could say Almaz is filling out a volunteer application. Okay, and in picture number 3, you could say there are some senior citizens. Or you could say this is a nursing home or a senior living community, senior living home. And then you could also say some seniors or senior citizens are reading. Some senior citizens are reading. And then picture number 4, it looks like this is another senior holding do you remember what this is called? Holding a walker, or we could say using a walker. So a senior citizen is using a walker. And it looks like someone is helping her. So you could make a longer sentence. You could say, someone is helping a senior citizen use her walker. Okay, and then let's look at, oh, actually there's another picture in the fourth one. You could say, someone is taking food to a senior citizen. And if this is a senior home, we could also just refer to the senior citizens as residents. So we could say the volunteer is helping the resident with her food. And then picture number 5, this looks like someone is giving a shot, or someone is giving a vaccination, someone is giving, and we can also say someone is getting. A young lady is getting a shot or getting a vaccination. Excuse me. So maybe this picture is a different place. Maybe it's in a hospital. So somehow these pictures are connected, and we're going to find out by listening to the audio. Okay, so I will include the audio here and ask some questions after you listen to the audio.
Unit 5. Around Town. Page 59, exercises 2A and 2B.
Hi, are you the volunteer coordinator?
Yep, Steve Jones. And you're Almaz? Did I say it right?
Yes, exactly. Almaz Bekele. Nice to meet you.
You too. Please, have a seat. I was just looking over your application to volunteer here at Quiet Palms, and it looks really good. Is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Of course. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. You wrote that you've been a volunteer before. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. I volunteered last summer at the public library downtown.
What did you do there?
I worked with adults who wanted to learn how to read. I also taught a little writing, and on Saturdays, I read stories to the kids.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, but what I really liked was working with the older people. It felt like I was doing something really worthwhile.
Uh-huh. So now, tell me why you want to volunteer in a nursing home.
Well, I think I might want to work in the healthcare field someday, but I won't know for sure until I get some experience.
I see. Well, we'd love to have you volunteer here.
Great! When can I start?
I like your enthusiasm, but we have some health requirements. First, you need to take a blood test and a TB test. You can start as soon as we get the results. It usually takes 2 or 3 days.
Okay, I'll take care of that right away. Also, I was wondering, can you tell me what my responsibilities will be?
Sure. One thing volunteers do is, they help residents with their meals. You might encourage them to eat, or just keep them company during mealtime.
Yeah, my grandmother always eats more when I'm with her. She likes having people around.
Then I'm sure you understand that you need to be patient and compassionate with the residents.
I know.
Volunteers also deliver mail and flowers, and they take residents for walks. You'll get more responsibilities as soon as you feel more confident.
Sounds good.
There's an orientation next Monday at 8:30.
I'll be there.
One more thing. You'll need to make a commitment to volunteer at least 3 hours per week.
No problem. I can't wait to start.
Okay, so you can feel free to go back and listen to the audio again, but try not to listen to it more than twice because you want to practice your listening skills. And if you just listen to it over and over and over again, then yeah, it might help you a little bit, but we want to try our best to understand the first time or the first 2 times. Because in reality, if you meet someone or you're talking to someone, you might ask them to repeat what they said, but you can't ask them to repeat it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So let's try to fine-tune, improve our English listening skills. At any point in this video, you can feel free to pause the video, but I will also provide some time to respond to these questions so that you don't have to keep pausing the video. You can just watch it all the way through. But again, if you need more time than the time I give you, you can also pause it. Okay, so let's look at number 1. The question is, who are the speakers? So this question you're very familiar with. We do this all the time for our listening activities. So you could say, Steve Jones and Almaz are the speakers. Or you could say, Steve Jones is talking to Almaz. Or Almaz is talking to Steve Jones. You can say talking to or talking with. And the next question, what is their relationship? Now this question is not in the book, but as you know, I like to add other questions to just test for your reading or listening comprehension. So you could say Steve Jones is the interviewer and Almaz is the applicant. Or from the listening, Steve Jones said that he is the volunteer coordinator. So you could just say Steve Jones is the volunteer coordinator and Almaz is a volunteer. Okay? And then the next question, number 2, what are they talking about? Okay, so you can say they are talking about a volunteer position, or you could say they are talking about Almaz's application to volunteer. And you can include the information about where or about the location, such as at a nursing home. You could say they are talking about Almaz's application to volunteer at a nursing home. And if you remember the name of the nursing home, the name is Quiet Palms. So you could also use the name of the nursing home. Okay, so let me ask a few more questions. Where did Almaz volunteer before? Okay, so you could say she volunteered at the public library downtown. Let's see, what did she do there? What did she do there? Now, this is where you can fill out the chart in exercise B, where it says Almaz's responsibilities at the library. So you could say, what did she do there? Or you can make a question using the title of the chart. You could say, what were Almaz's responsibilities at the library? So you can see that the first responsibility says, worked with adults learning to read. So you can add the other two and we can make a sentence. Okay, so you could say, she worked with adults learning to read, or she worked with adults who wanted to learn to read, to learn how to read. And the second one, she taught some writing, or she taught a little writing, or you could just say she taught writing. And on Saturdays, she read stories to the kids. Those are the 3 responsibilities. She worked with adults learning to read, she taught writing, and she read stories to the kids. Those are the 3 responsibilities. And then if you look at the next column, the title is Volunteer Responsibilities at Quiet Palms. So you could make a question, but the question needs to be in future tense because she isn't a volunteer yet. Let's make a question for this chart. Okay, so you could say, what will Almaz's responsibilities at Quiet Palms be? Or you could just use the title and say, what will the volunteer responsibilities at Quiet Palms be? Okay, so you can go ahead and answer those questions and let's make some sentences. Okay, so this one, you might have some different sentences, but the first responsibility, you can say volunteers help residents with their meals. That's one of the main responsibilities. You can break that down into 2 more responsibilities. Volunteers might encourage residents to eat. They could also keep them company during meals while they eat. So what does that mean? Keep someone company. Keeping someone company means just to be with them and make sure they're not alone. So when you keep someone company, you are together with that person. The second responsibility is you could write volunteers deliver mail and flowers. And then finally, the last responsibility is they take residents for walks. So you could write volunteers take residents for walks. Okay, so I have a few more questions about the listening. Almaz said that she volunteered at the public library, but what did she really enjoy doing there? She enjoyed working with the older people. And why did she enjoy working with the older people? So she enjoyed working with them because she felt it was worthwhile. What does worthwhile mean? So worthwhile means something meaningful, something important. Okay, and then Steve Jones told Almaz that she needed to do some things before she can volunteer. What are those things that she needs to do? She has to pass some health requirements. So first, she needs to take a blood test and a TB test. TB is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is finally, when is the orientation? When is the orientation? The orientation is next Monday at 8:30. What is the time commitment for volunteers? Or maybe we can ask, how long does she need to volunteer? Or how long do volunteers need to commit? Or how many hours do volunteers need to commit? Okay, so the answer is volunteers need to commit at least 3 hours per week.